The unknown arrival, hook and suspense. In the vast emptiness of space, where stars flicker like distant lanterns, an unknown presence began to stir. For centuries, the galaxy had been at peace. The alien empires ruled their domains with unmatched power, each one believing they were untouchable, their reign secure. But all that was about to change. The silence of space was shattered by a strange signal. It came in quietly at first, a faint trace on the radar of the alien command center. The officers barely noticed it, too distracted by the usual traffic of their advanced patrols. But then, the signal grew stronger, louder. A voice, cold and mechanical, broadcasted across the galaxy, reaching every corner of the known universe. Caution! Human combat vessel approaching unknown territory. The alien commanders froze. The words echoed through their war rooms, carried by communication systems that had never before encountered such a message. The term human was one they had long since dismissed. They had heard the stories of humanity's past, of a small and insignificant species from a distant planet, Earth. How could they be a threat now? But this was no ordinary message. The unmistakable tone of urgency in the broadcast sent chills through the alien officers. This wasn't just a warning. It was a declaration of something far greater, something far more dangerous. As the words repeated, the command center erupted into chaos. Alien officers scrambled to their consoles, trying to understand what this meant. They couldn't believe it. Humans, the creatures they had once considered primitive, were now sending a warship into unknown territory. How had they gained the technology? How had they become this powerful? The command room was filled with murmurs and nervous glances. The captain of the alien fleet, a seasoned leader named Kozar, stepped forward. His yellow eyes narrowed in disbelief as he studied the data on his screen. It was true. A massive ship, unknown in design but unmistakable in its readings, was making its way toward their territory, a human combat vessel. Kozar's mind raced. The galaxy had grown complacent under the rule of the alien empires. But now there was a threat, an unknown enemy emerging from the depths of space. The humans were not supposed to be capable of such feats. Their technology had never been considered a match for the alien forces. But now this ship was on a direct course for the heart of the galaxy. The captain turned to his officers. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered sharply. "We need to know what we're dealing with. Do not underestimate them." A low hum of activity filled the command room as alien warships began to assemble. But despite their vast numbers and formidable technology, something felt off. Kozar could feel it, a sense of unease that lingered in the air. The humans had never been known for their grand fleets or overwhelming numbers, but they were known for their determination, their resourcefulness. What if this was a new beginning for them? What if they had found a way to harness the power they had been so desperately seeking? Kozar clenched his fists. He knew that if the humans had discovered a way to challenge the alien dominance, the balance of power would shift forever. He couldn't allow that. Not after centuries of the alien empire's reign. "Send a recon ship to intercept the human vessel," Kozar ordered. "We need answers now." The alien fleet began to move, their ships sleek and deadly, cutting through the darkness of space toward the mysterious human vessel. But as they drew closer, something unexpected happened. The human ship, which had once appeared as nothing more than a small blip on the radar, suddenly surged in size and power. Its hull gleamed with a cold, metallic sheen, and Kozar could feel the weight of its presence, even from a distance. The ship had been waiting, ready to face whatever challenges came its way. It was a warning, clear as day. The humans had arrived. But the question remained, how had they managed to build something so formidable? How had they found a way to make such a ship? The recon ships attempted to get closer, but the human vessel was fast, far faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. It maneuvered with precision and skill, dodging the alien ships and slipping into the unknown space with ease. No one had expected the humans to possess such tactics, and the alien forces found themselves at a loss. Khazar felt the weight of the situation. This wasn't just another battle. It was the beginning of something new. The human combat vessel had entered their domain, and with it came the unknown. There was no way of knowing what the humans had brought with them. But one thing was clear. This was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to change forever. The alien fleets prepared for battle, but there was still a sense of uncertainty in the air. Would the humans prove to be the true threat, or would they be crushed under the weight of alien might? As the first shots rang out, the galaxy held its breath. The battle had begun, and no one knew how it would end. The unknown had arrived, and humanity had come to conquer. The Human Warship. The alien commanders, shaken but resolute, watched as their warships closed in on the unknown human vessel. For all their advanced technology and centuries of domination, they had never encountered an enemy quite like this. Their reconnaissance ships had reported back with baffling data. The human vessel didn't just look different. It behaved differently, as if it had its own agenda. On board the human combat vessel, the crew was preparing for whatever lay ahead. Inside the massive ship, the atmosphere was tense but determined. Captain Liam Harris stood at the helm, staring at the cold expanse of space ahead. He wasn't just a leader of soldiers. He was the embodiment of humanity's survival instinct. His face, calm yet resolute, reflected the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. The warship, dubbed Vanguard, was a marvel of human ingenuity. It was not the largest ship in the galaxy, nor the most technologically advanced, but it had one thing that the aliens could not replicate: human determination. The crew, a mix of veterans and young recruits, had been training for years for this moment. They had prepared for the unknown, but nothing could fully ready them for the reality of their situation. Their mission wasn't just to explore. It was to show the galaxy that humanity was no longer a species to be underestimated. "Captain, we've detected alien ships closing in on our position," reported Lieutenant Sarah Coleman, the ship's tactical officer. Her voice was steady, but there was no hiding the tension in her words. The human vessel had been built for battles like this, but the odds were still overwhelming. "We're not here to run," Captain Harris replied, his voice a deep calm in the chaos of the bridge. "Stand by, everyone. This will be our finest hour." The crew worked in perfect unison, their focus unwavering as they readied the Vanguard for battle. The ship's engines hummed with power, and its weapon systems lit up with deadly intent. It was a symbol of everything humanity had endured to survive and thrive in the galaxy. From its powerful shields to its advanced targeting systems, the ship was ready. But it wasn't just about the ship's technology. It was about the spirit of the crew. Each member of the Vanguard had lived through humanity's darkest days and emerged stronger for it. They had seen their planet ravaged, their cities burned, and their hopes crushed. But they had never given up. Now, they were here to prove that humanity would not be subjugated, not by any force in the galaxy. As the alien ships drew closer, Captain Harris issued his first orders. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Activate all weapon systems. Get ready to engage the enemy." Lieutenant Coleman's fingers flew over the control panel, and the ship's weapons powered up. The Vanguard was a deadly force in its own right, but it wasn't invincible. The alien fleets vastly outnumbered them, and they had superior firepower. But the humans had something the aliens didn't: adaptability. The first wave of alien ships opened fire, their weapons cutting through space toward the Vanguard. The bridge crew braced themselves, but the ship's shields flared to life, absorbing the brunt of the assault. The humans knew their shields wouldn't hold forever, but they were designed to give them time. Time to strike back, time to prove that they were not here to be victims. Captain Harris watched as the Vanguard twisted and turned, narrowly avoiding the alien blasts. The ship's engines roared to life, pushing the vessel into sharp, unpredictable angles. The alien ships, despite their advanced technology, were struggling to keep up. They had underestimated humanity's ability to fight back. They had expected a smaller, weaker foe. Instead, they had found a warrior, willing to do whatever it took to protect their future. "Firing back," shouted Coleman as she targeted the lead alien ship. The Vanguard's cannons roared, sending a barrage of energy blasts toward the enemy fleet. The first alien ship was hit directly, its shields flickering before exploding into space debris. The humans cheered, but there was no time to celebrate. More enemy ships were closing in, and the battle was just beginning. As the battle raged on, Captain Harris could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on him. He had always known that humanity's strength wasn't in numbers or sheer firepower. It was in their resolve. The will to survive, to adapt, and to fight for a future. He wasn't fighting just for himself or his crew. He was fighting for every human who had ever dreamed of a better future. His mind raced through the possibilities. They couldn't win a war through sheer force alone, not against an empire that had ruled for centuries. But they could create enough chaos, enough uncertainty, to level the playing field. They needed to get to the heart of the alien command structure. Only then would they have a chance to turn the tide in humanity's favor. "Coleman, target their command ships," Harris ordered. "We take out their leadership, and the rest will follow." The Vanguard surged forward, cutting through the alien lines with precision and speed. The crew worked together as a single, unstoppable force, each person contributing their expertise to keep the ship running smoothly. As alien ships fell around them, the human vessel became a symbol of defiance. They were no longer just explorers. They were warriors. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, the alien commanders had reason to doubt. This wasn't just a random skirmish. This was a turning point. The humans were here, and they were not leaving without a fight. First contact. The war between the human combat vessel, Vanguard, and the alien fleet was escalating quickly. The tide of battle shifted in unexpected ways as the human ship outmaneuvered its enemies with calculated precision, defying everything the aliens had believed about the humans' capabilities. It wasn't just the firepower or the technology that impressed the aliens. It was the humans' tactics, their sheer unpredictability, that left the alien commanders scrambling. On the Vanguard, Captain Harris stood at the helm, watching as his crew pushed the limits of their vessel. The alien ships were relentless, but the Vanguard was nimble, darting and weaving through enemy fire with remarkable agility. The crew's resolve was unshakable. Each member focused entirely on the task at hand. "Target their command ship," Harris ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "If we take down their leadership, their fleet will crumble." Lieutenant Coleman, the ship's tactical officer, acknowledged the order with a nod. The crew was already well trained for this kind of battle, but now, with every alien ship they destroyed, the humans were proving their worth. They were no longer seen as a fledgling species. This warship was a force to be reckoned with. The alien forces, once so sure of their dominance, now found themselves struggling to adapt to the humans' guerrilla-like tactics. They had underestimated the humans, assuming they would be easy to crush. Instead, they were finding that the humans were more than just warriors. They were survivors, adapting to the situation and learning as they went. The Vanguard's weapon systems flared, firing powerful energy blasts toward the alien command ship. The attack struck hard, causing the alien vessel to stagger, its shields failing under the force of the assault. For a brief moment, the alien fleet faltered. It was a small victory, but it sent a clear message. Humanity wasn't just here to play by the rules. They were here to win. But just as the crew of the Vanguard began to feel a sense of triumph, an unexpected shift occurred. The aliens, realizing the threat humanity posed, launched a final coordinated assault. Hundreds of alien ships surrounded the Vanguard, their weapons charging for a devastating strike. "Brace for impact," Lieutenant Coleman shouted, her voice tinged with urgency. The ship shook violently as the alien fire hammered against the Vanguard's shields. The hull groaned under the pressure, but the ship held firm. The crew fought through the chaos, keeping the vessel intact and focused on their mission. In the midst of the battle, Captain Harris stared out at the vast expanse of space, his mind racing. The alien forces were powerful, but they lacked the one thing that humanity had in abundance: determination. It wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a fight for the future of humanity itself. The galaxy had ruled them out, but now they had arrived to challenge the established order. It was no longer about staying alive. It was about proving their place in the cosmos. "Target their weak points," Harris called out. "We can't keep fighting like this forever." As the Vanguard's weapons recharged, the crew focused all their efforts on exploiting the alien ship's vulnerabilities. The human ship darted through the alien formations, evading attacks and hitting back with deadly accuracy. The Vanguard had become a beacon of resistance, its crew relentless in their pursuit of victory. On the alien side, panic was beginning to set in. Alien commanders scrambled to reconfigure their tactics, but it was clear that humanity's warship was unlike anything they had ever faced. Each alien ship that fell pushed them closer to the realization that this human vessel was not to be underestimated. In the heat of the battle, one of the alien ships broke off from the formation and moved toward the Vanguard. It wasn't a retreat, it was something else, something far more dangerous. The ship sent a transmission, one that was intercepted by the human vessel. The message, a garbled mix of alien languages, was a direct request for communication. "This is it," Captain Harris muttered, his gaze narrowing. "They want to talk. They're desperate." The crew exchanged glances, all understanding the significance of this moment. The alien fleet was powerful, but they now saw that humanity wasn't going to back down. The Vanguard was not just an invader, it was a challenge, and the aliens had no idea how to deal with a force like this. "Open a channel," Harris ordered, his voice calm but firm. The crew did as instructed, and the main screen flickered to life, showing the face of an alien commander. His eyes glowed an eerie green, and his expression was one of frustration mixed with fear. "Human," the alien commander growled, his voice filled with distrust. "You are out of your depth. Surrender now, and we may spare your lives. Your warship is no match for our fleets." Harris didn't flinch. "We're not here to surrender," he replied, his voice steady. "We're here to show you that humanity will not be enslaved. We'll fight for our place in this galaxy." The alien commander's eyes narrowed. For a moment, there was silence before he spoke again, this time with a mixture of arrogance and fear. "We'll see how long your defiance lasts. You cannot hope to win this war. You cannot stand against us." The transmission cut out abruptly, but the message was clear. The aliens weren't finished yet, but they had realized something they hadn't expected. Humanity wasn't going to just roll over and die. They had come for more than survival. They had come for victory. As the Vanguard moved deeper into the unknown territory, the alien ships regrouped, preparing for their next move. The battle was far from over, but humanity had taken the first step in reshaping the galaxy's future. The unknown was no longer a place of fear. It was a place where humanity had proven they belonged. The battle begins. The silence that followed the alien commander's threat was deafening. For a moment, there was an eerie calm on the Vanguard. But the crew knew what was coming. The aliens would regroup, and the battle would resume. The tension on the bridge was thick, every crew member aware that this was only the beginning of something much bigger. There would be no turning back. "Ready the weapons," Captain Harris ordered, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "If they think they can intimidate us, they're gravely mistaken. We fight now, or we perish." Lieutenant Coleman nodded, her fingers quickly dancing across the console, targeting the largest concentration of alien ships. The Vanguard had already been hit hard, but its shields were holding, and its weapons systems were ready. The ship wasn't the most advanced, but it had something far more dangerous: human ingenuity. The alien ships, no longer disorganized or fearful, now began to move in a tight formation, creating a wall of firepower that surrounded the Vanguard. The human vessel was at the center of a deadly web, but the crew didn't flinch. Instead, they adapted executing evasive maneuvers that caught the aliens off guard. The battle that ensued was not one of brute force, but of wits, of calculated risk, and of relentless perseverance. "Fire!" shouted Harris, his command ringing out across the bridge. The Vanguard's weapons roared to life, unleashing a torrent of energy blasts that streaked through the vastness of space. Alien ships exploded in the distance, their debris scattering across the void. The crew cheered briefly, but there was no time for celebration. The aliens were quick to retaliate, their weapons slashing through space, targeting the Vanguard with deadly accuracy. The first few blasts hit hard, shaking the ship and causing alarms to blare across the bridge. Sparks flew from the control panels, and the crew braced themselves. Despite the damage, the Vanguard remained operational, its shields absorbing the brunt of the attack. "Shields holding at 65%, Coleman reported, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Keep them steady," Harris said. "We need to break through their defenses, not just survive." With the captain's calm yet commanding voice guiding them, the crew of the Vanguard executed an incredible series of maneuvers. They looped around the alien ships, diving and soaring like birds in the sky, unpredictable and difficult to target. The humans' tactics were unorthodox, and that's what gave them an edge. The aliens, accustomed to rigid formations and predictable enemies, were now facing something completely foreign, a force that adapted, that struck hard and fast, and then disappeared into the blackness before they could retaliate. On the alien side, the commanders were scrambling. Khazar, the lead commander of the alien fleet, watched the battle unfold in horror. His forces had been trained to overwhelm, to dominate. But these humans, they weren't following the rules. They weren't like any species he had ever encountered. "They're too fast," Khazar shouted. "Form a tighter blockade. We must prevent them from escaping." But the Vanguard wasn't running. Instead, it was moving deeper into the heart of the alien fleet, cutting through their lines with surgical precision. The humans weren't just trying to escape. They were forcing the aliens into a position where they had no choice but to react. Every time an alien ship targeted them, they would evade, only to return with a well-placed strike that caused chaos in the alien ranks. As the battle raged on, Captain Harris' thoughts focused on one thing: they couldn't just fight forever. They needed to strike at the core of the alien forces to take down their leadership and cripple their ability to fight back. They couldn't afford to engage in a long war of attrition. "Target their command ships," Harris ordered, his mind working in overdrive. "Let's take out their head and see how the body reacts." Coleman worked quickly, bringing up a tactical map of the alien fleet on the main screen. A large formation of enemy ships, heavily shielded and clearly well protected, stood at the heart of the alien forces. It was the perfect target. "Tracking their command ships, Captain." "Preparing to fire," she said, her fingers moving like lightning across her console. The Vanguard steadied itself for the next strike. The energy in the air was palpable, each crew member feeling the weight of their task. As the ship accelerated toward the alien command formation, the captain's voice rang out once again. "Fire when ready." The weapons on the Vanguard unleashed an overwhelming barrage of energy blasts, targeting the alien command ships with ruthless precision. The first shot hit its mark, causing the lead alien ship to flicker and explode in a burst of brilliant light. Alien debris scattered across the void, and the alien forces reacted with panic. Several ships veered off course, trying to flee from the human assault. "Direct hit. The lead command ship is down," Coleman exclaimed. "We've broken their formation." Harris didn't allow himself a moment to revel in the success. "Stay on target. They'll try to regroup. We need to keep the pressure on." The crew of the Vanguard knew the battle was far from over. The aliens, stunned by the loss of their command ship, began to scatter. However, their remaining forces quickly regrouped, eager for revenge. "We've broken their confidence," Harris muttered to himself, his eyes never leaving the view screen. "But now we need to finish this." The alien fleet began to react with more coordination, launching a second wave of attacks. This time, however, the Vanguard was ready. Its evasive maneuvers became more erratic, unpredictable, keeping the aliens on edge. The Vanguard wasn't just surviving. It was thriving in the chaos. The human ship wasn't just a force of destruction. It was a symbol of hope, a testament to humanity's resilience and refusal to back down. As the battle wore on, the alien fleet was losing ground. The once dominant forces were now in disarray, their advanced technology and overwhelming numbers proving useless against the human resolve. The aliens had expected an easy victory, but instead they were facing something far more dangerous, a species that had been tested by hardship and had emerged stronger. The Vanguard pressed on, relentless in its pursuit of victory. The battle had only just begun, but humanity's place in the galaxy was being forged in the heat of this conflict. And with each passing moment, the Vanguard proved one undeniable truth to the galaxy: humanity would not be ignored. You said, unveiling the human spirit. The battle had raged for hours, but the Vanguard showed no sign of slowing. The alien forces, though vast and technologically superior, were beginning to falter under the constant pressure. The humans had proven their mettle, and the aliens were starting to question what they had once assumed was certain: their domination of the galaxy. On board the Vanguard, the crew was exhausted but resolute. Each member was pushing beyond their limits, focused on the task at hand. Captain Harris had seen the toll the battle was taking on his crew, but he knew they couldn't afford to stop. The aliens would never allow them to retreat. They had to win this fight, or humanity would be lost. Captain Harris stood before the tactical display, watching as the alien fleet shifted tactics once again. The commanders of the alien forces, Khazar and his officers, were growing desperate. The humans' persistence was starting to wear down their once unshakable confidence. "They won't give up," Harris muttered under his breath, eyes fixed on the screen. "We'll have to force their hand." Lieutenant Coleman, ever steady at her station, spoke up. "Captain, the alien forces are regrouping. It looks like they're forming a new, more concentrated attack. They're trying to overwhelm us with sheer numbers again." "Keep the ship steady," Harris replied. "We can't let them break our lines. They've underestimated us long enough." Despite the growing odds, there was an unmistakable strength in the humans' resolve. The crew was more than just soldiers. They were survivors. Every person aboard the Vanguard had faced hardship in their past, from the decimation of their planet to the endless struggle to reclaim their place in the universe. The warship wasn't just a machine of destruction. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience, their ability to stand tall even when faced with the impossible. The alien fleet, having suffered heavy losses, attempted to encircle the Vanguard. But this time, humanity wasn't reacting blindly. Captain Harris had a plan, one that could potentially shift the balance in their favor. The Vanguard wasn't just about brute force. It was about using the environment to their advantage. "Activate the quantum field generators," Harris ordered. Coleman's eyes widened as she quickly adjusted her controls. The quantum field generators were a risky tactic, but one that could disrupt the alien fleet's targeting systems. The Vanguard had used them in small skirmishes before, but never against an enemy this powerful. "Generators activated," Coleman reported. "The field is online. Will be harder to target now." With the quantum field in place, the Vanguard seemed to vanish into the background of space, its form distorted and difficult to lock onto. The alien fleet's weapons fired blindly, their shots missing by miles. It was a brilliant move, and it gave the humans the edge they needed to strike back. Harris watched as the enemy ships struggled to adjust, their fire becoming erratic. The aliens, accustomed to dominating with precision and overwhelming numbers, were now disoriented. The humans had turned their greatest disadvantage, being outnumbered, into a tactical advantage. "Now's our chance," Harris said, his voice firm with conviction. "Prepare for a full counterattack. Target their weak points. Hit them where it hurts." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. The Vanguard surged forward, its weapons charging. Every blast it fired was pinpoint accurate, striking the alien ship's most vulnerable spots. The tide of the battle began to shift in humanity's favor. The Vanguard darted between alien warships, dodging fire while dealing heavy damage in return. The aliens, who had once believed they could crush humanity in an instant, were now struggling to keep up with the relentless human tactics. Their fleet was in disarray, and even Khazar, watching from his flagship, could no longer hide his frustration. The humans weren't supposed to be this formidable. "We need reinforcements." Khazar barked, his eyes blazing with frustration. "Call for backup. This human ship is too much for us to handle alone." But Khazar's calls for backup were met with silence. The aliens' reinforcements had been decimated during the earlier phases of the battle, and now the Vanguard had them on the ropes. On board the Vanguard, Harris and his crew pressed their advantage. They had dealt a significant blow to the alien fleet, but they knew they couldn't stop yet. The alien forces had proven their resilience before, and if the humans let their guard down, they could recover. "We've hit their command ships," Captain Coleman said, her voice filled with a mix of triumph and caution. "But there are still a few pockets of resistance. We need to eliminate them quickly." Harris nodded. "Keep pushing. We finish this now, or it'll never be over." As the battle wore on, the alien ships began to retreat. Their once mighty forces, now disorganized and suffering heavy casualties, could no longer maintain their attack. The Vanguard had not just survived. It had broken the back of the alien invasion. The remaining alien ships scattered, retreating into the depths of space. Some of them tried to regroup, but the Vanguard was relentless. Each blast fired was one more step toward securing humanity's place in the galaxy. As the last of the alien ships retreated, Captain Harris stood on the bridge, surveying the aftermath. The Vanguard had taken significant damage, but the battle was theirs. They had proven that humanity was no longer a species to be ignored. They had fought with every ounce of their strength, showing the galaxy that even against overwhelming odds, humanity would never back down. For the first time since the battle began, a sense of relief washed over the crew. They had done it. The aliens had underestimated them, and now the Vanguard was the symbol of humanity's indomitable will. But as Harris gazed out at the wreckage of the alien fleet, his mind was already turning to the next step. This victory was just the beginning. There were more challenges ahead, more enemies to face. But humanity had shown the galaxy that they would not be silenced, not now and not ever. The Vanguard had proven one undeniable truth. No force in the universe could stand against the human spirit, and the galaxy would learn to fear it. A new order. As the last remnants of the alien fleet faded into the depths of space, the Vanguard lingered in the void. The battle had been won, but the cost had been great. The Human Warship, though victorious, was battered, its hull scarred, and its systems strained to the limit. But it had proven itself, and more importantly, humanity had proven itself. The galaxy now knew that humans were not to be underestimated. On the bridge, the crew of the Vanguard worked quickly, patching up the ship's systems and ensuring its readiness for the next challenge. Captain Harris stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the distant stars. Though the immediate threat had been dealt with, there was no illusion of peace. The alien empires had felt the sting of defeat, but they would not simply lie down and accept it. The Vanguard's victory was only the beginning of a much larger shift in the galaxy. "Captain, we've received a communication," Lieutenant Coleman reported, her voice alert. "It's from the alien commanders." Harris's eyes narrowed. The aliens had lost, but they weren't defeated. Not yet. "Put it through," he ordered. The screen flickered to life, and the image of Khazar, the alien commander, appeared. His face was a mixture of anger and grudging respect. His once proud fleet had been shattered, but now he stood before the humans, acknowledging the reality he had tried to ignore. "You've proven yourselves, human," Khazar said, his voice laced with bitterness. We underestimated you. I admit that, but you have not won this war. You have only survived the first battle." Harris stood tall, his voice steady. "We've shown you what we're capable of. And you've learned what happens when you push humanity too far. We didn't come here to surrender. We came to fight, to take our place in this galaxy. And we will not be silenced." Khazar's eyes flickered with a mixture of contempt and reluctant acknowledgement. "Perhaps. You are right. You've made a statement, and we have been forced to listen. But understand this. You will never have the galaxy. We will strike again." This was but a warning. "We'll be ready," Harris replied, his tone unwavering. "And the next time we meet, it won't be a warning. It will be the end." The transmission ended abruptly, and the screen returned to the cold, starry expanse of space. The alien forces had retreated, but it was clear that they were not done. The battle for the galaxy was far from over. Harris took a deep breath, his mind already calculating their next move. "Prepare the Vanguard for another mission. We'll need to strengthen our position and make sure the galaxy knows we're here to stay. This war is far from over, but we will shake the outcome. It's time to make a new order." Lieutenant Coleman nodded. "Understood, Captain. We'll start coordinating with the other human fleets. We need to send a message to the galaxy. Humanity is not just surviving anymore. We're here to lead." As the crew continued their work, Harris felt a weight on his shoulders. This victory had brought them respect, but it had also drawn a target on humanity's back. The galaxy was changing, and the forces of alien empires would not sit idle for long. The human race was no longer a forgotten species. They had been thrust into the spotlight, and now they had to defend their place in the universe. The Vanguard's mission was far from over. The crew knew they were facing a long road ahead, one filled with more battles and more sacrifices. But they were ready. The human spirit had been tested, and it had emerged stronger than ever. The galaxy was about to witness the rise of a new power, one that would not bend to the will of any alien empire. It would rise with the strength of humanity's greatest weapon, the indomitable will to survive and thrive. As Harris stood by the observation window, looking out into the stars, he knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had survived the first test, but now they had to prove they could build something greater, a future. A future where the human race stood at the forefront of a new order, a future where they would be the ones shaping the destiny of the galaxy. "Set course for the next star system," Harris said, his voice resolute. "Let's show the galaxy who we really are." With a sense of purpose and unwavering determination, the Vanguard began its journey once again. The unknown had been faced, the first battle won. But the war had just begun, and humanity, for the first time in the galaxy's history, was leading the charge. Victory and new beginnings. The Vanguard surged forward, its engines humming with renewed power as it moved deeper into uncharted space. The crew aboard the ship, though weary from the battles they had just fought, felt an undeniable surge of pride and determination. They had faced the might of alien empires, and against all odds, they had emerged victorious. Yet they knew the path ahead was not without its dangers. This victory, though significant, was only the beginning of something much larger. Captain Harris stood at the bridge, watching the stars streak by. The galaxy had been shaken, but the battle was far from over. The alien fleets would regroup, they would retaliate, and there would be more challenges on the horizon. The Vanguard had proven its worth, but humanity's place in the galaxy had yet to be fully secured. "We've made a mark, Captain," Lieutenant Coleman said, approaching him. Her voice was filled with a mix of awe and resolve. "But now comes the hardest part, turning this victory into something lasting. The galaxy won't just accept our presence." Harris nodded, his face hardening with resolve. "They'll have to accept it. Humanity is here to stay." The crew knew that the real test had just begun. The galaxy, now aware of humanity's strength, would not simply accept their existence. The other alien empires, watching from the shadows, would see humanity as a threat. But it was a threat they hadn't prepared for, the threat of a species that would not bend, that would not submit. The Vanguard had shown them that humans would fight for their future, no matter the odds. But Harris wasn't naive. He knew that survival wasn't just about fighting. It was about forging alliances, building relationships, and making humanity's presence known across the stars. "Prepare a message to the human colonies," Harris ordered. "We need to unite. This isn't just one ship against the galaxy. It's humanity against everything the galaxy has known. We need to stand together." As the message went out, it reached hundreds of human colonies scattered across the galaxy, from the frontier settlements to the established outposts. The message was clear. Humanity had taken its first steps into the greater galaxy, and it was not backing down. The Vanguard's victory was a symbol that humanity had the strength to forge its own destiny. Weeks passed, and the news of the Vanguard's victory spread. It didn't take long for other alien species to take notice, some with trepidation, others with curiosity. The once proud alien empires, whose grip on the galaxy had been unchallenged for centuries, now found themselves facing a new power, one that wasn't content to simply exist in the shadows. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the center of it. Captain Harris knew that the road ahead would be difficult. The Vanguard would face more battles, more obstacles, but they would not be alone. Humanity was no longer scattered and fragmented. They were coming together, united in their desire to carve out a place among the stars. "Captain," came Lieutenant Coleman's voice from across the bridge, interrupting his thoughts. "We've received an encrypted message from an unknown source. It's a request for a meeting." Harris straightened. "Who is it from?" "It appears to be from the Zetar, one of the galaxy's oldest and most powerful empires. They're requesting to speak with us directly." The Zetar were known for their strength and cunning. They had been one of the first alien empires to expand across the galaxy, and they had ruled with an iron fist for centuries. To receive a message from them was both unexpected and significant. "Open a channel," Harris said, his voice calm but tinged with curiosity. The screen flickered, and the image of a tall, imposing alien figure appeared. The Zetar were reptilian in appearance, with dark green scales and glowing orange eyes that seemed to pierce through the screen. "I am K-Full, High Commander of the Zetar Empire," the alien said, his voice deep and authoritative. "We have watched your actions closely, human. Your victory against the Zorlaf fleet has been impressive, perhaps more than impressive. It has sparked a change in the way we view your species." Harris met K-Fell's gaze, unflinching. "We didn't come here to impress anyone. We came to survive, and to prove that humanity has a place in this galaxy." K-Fell's eyes narrowed slightly. "You've proven that. But now you face a choice, human. The Zetar Empire has existed for millennia. We rule with order, and we value strength. You can continue to fight, or you can join us. There is power in unity." Harris considered the offer carefully. The Zetar Empire was powerful, and an alliance with them could bring strength, resources, and protection. But at what cost? Joining the Zetar could mean bending to their will, forsaking humanity's freedom. It was a dangerous proposition. "We don't join empires," Harris said, his voice steady. "We build our own future. If that means fighting, then so be it. But we will never bow to another empire. Not now, not ever." The Zetar High Commander's expression darkened, but he did not respond immediately. Instead, he gave a slow nod. "Very well, human," K-Fell said. "You have made your choice. But know this. You are not the only power rising in the galaxy. There are those who will not tolerate your presence. Prepare yourselves." The transmission cut off, and the screen went dark. The crew on the bridge stood in silence, the weight of the conversation hanging in the air. "Captain," Coleman said, breaking the silence. "What now?" Harris took a deep breath. "Now we prepare. The Zetar are powerful, but they can't stop us. This galaxy will not be ruled by the few. Humanity is here to stay, and we will make our future on our terms. The Vanguard's mission had taken on new meaning. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about carving out humanity's place among the stars. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but Harris knew one thing for certain. Humanity would face it all, united and unyielding. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity would be the ones to shape it. With a firm hand on the helm, Captain Harris looked out into the endless expanse of space. The stars, once a distant dream, were now within reach. And with them, humanity's future. The Vanguard moved forward, a beacon of hope in the darkness. And this time, humanity was leading the charge.